In a quaint, tightly knit community nestled in the idyllic southern countryside, the unexpected arrival of the charismatic American priest, Father George, initially sparked a noticeable buzz. The townspeople, renowned for their strong religious convictions and steadfast dedication to their local parish, couldn't help but harbor skepticism toward the youthful 35-year-old priest who was poised to take over from their venerable spiritual leader of decades past. However, Father George's magnetic preaching style, unwavering commitment to works of mercy, and an impressive academic background that included studies in Rome gradually endeared him to the hearts of the congregation. The early days of Father George's tenure were marked by a palpable sense of uncertainty and trepidation, as the townspeople grappled with the departure from the traditional worship and spiritual guidance they had grown accustomed to. Yet, as Father George settled into his newfound role, he prioritized establishing personal connections with the community. Going above and beyond, he actively sought out opportunities to visit the sick, console the grieving, and provide guidance to those in need. His outreach extended beyond individual care, as he encouraged the congregation to engage in charitable acts such as organizing food drives for the less fortunate and clothing donations for the homeless. In addition to his benevolent deeds, Father George swiftly gained acclaim for his compelling and thought-provoking sermons, possessing a unique ability to make the teachings of Scripture relevant to the daily lives of his parishioners. He urged them to practice kindness, forgiveness, and compassion in their interactions with others, infusing his sermons with personal anecdotes and a touch of humor. Father George kept the congregation engaged, fostering an eagerness to delve deeper into their faith. Word about the refreshing approach to spirituality propagated by the new priest quickly spread, attracting people from neighboring communities to attend his masses. The once dwindling attendance experienced a remarkable surge, with the church's pews, once empty, now filling up once more. Father George's presence breathed new life into the parish, reinvigorating the community's commitment to their faith. As the months unfolded, Father George continued to fortify his bond with the community. He became a ubiquitous presence at local events, cheering on the sidelines at youth soccer games, and partaking in community potlucks. Not content with merely performing his pastoral duties, he invested time in learning about the area's rich history and cultural traditions, seamlessly incorporating them into his sermons and celebrations. It became evident that Father George's devotion extended beyond the pulpit. He genuinely cared about his congregation and was dedicated to serving them in the best way possible. Even the most ardent skeptics within the community, initially resistant to change, eventually came around to appreciate and respect Father George. They witnessed firsthand his passion for his work, his unwavering faith, and his deep commitment to the welfare of the community. Through his unwavering perseverance and dedication, Father George succeeded in uniting the community under a shared sense of purpose and spiritual growth. His humble, down-to-earth demeanor, coupled with his steadfast faith and commitment to the teachings of the Church, inspired the townspeople to live their lives with renewed purpose and zeal. Over time, the once apprehensive community embraced Father George as their spiritual guide and confidant. His boundless energy, profound passion, and remarkable ability to connect with individuals from all walks of life transformed the small parish into a thriving, close-knit community of faithful believers. Among the townspeople, Laura, a kind-hearted widow, emerged as one of Father George's most devoted followers. Known for her unwavering faith and selflessness, Laura dedicated a significant portion of her time to working for the church, organizing charitable events, and supporting the parish's missions. Her profound dedication and generosity endeared her to the community, making her a beloved figure and exemplifying the positive impact Father George had on the lives of those he served. Laura had been an unwavering pillar of the community for numerous years, and her faith had only deepened since the tragic passing of her husband. Confronted with personal adversity, Laura discovered solace and purpose in her devoted commitment to the church and her fellow parishioners. The arrival of Father George served not as a disruption but as a catalyst, igniting her passion for service and amplifying her dedication to the community. As an indispensable member of the congregation, Laura consistently exhibited eagerness to extend a helping hand, whether seen at the church meticulously cleaning and adorning the altar, arranging flowers, or preparing for upcoming events. Her tireless efforts reflected her deep-seated commitment to the church's mission, the countless hours she devoted to organizing fundraisers, coordinating volunteers, and offering support to those in need were a testament to her unwavering dedication. Laura's selflessness transcended the confines of the church walls. Renowned for her acts of compassion, she regularly visited the sick and elderly in the community, delivering meals and providing companionship while sharing words of comfort and encouragement. Her kindness knew no bounds, reaching out to help individuals irrespective of their background or beliefs. The community held Laura in high regard, not only for her unyielding faith but also for her genuine kindness and humility. She embodied the values Father George preached, inspiring others to emulate her benevolent actions. One fateful morning, after attending the 7 a.m. Mass, Laura chose to linger at the church for additional moments of prayer. Engrossed in silent devotion, she was moved to live stream the church's beautifully renovated altar on social media. With the dawn's first light filtering through stained glass windows, the church took on an ethereal glow, prompting Laura to share this tranquil moment with friends and fellow parishioners. As Laura continued her prayers and live-streamed the serene scene, a sudden, alarming change occurred. Her heart raced, and a sharp pain gripped her chest, accompanied by short and labored breaths. Realizing something was amiss, she attempted to call for help, but her voice barely rose above a whisper. Despite the pain intensifying, Laura clutched her chest and collapsed to the ground, her phone slipping from her grasp but continuing to record the unfolding scene. Father George, hearing the commotion, rushed to her aid, only to be greeted by the distressing sight of Laura lying motionless on the floor. Swiftly assessing the dire situation, he initiated cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR. In a desperate attempt to save her life, each chest compression and rescued breath was accompanied by fervent prayers for divine intervention. In the midst of this life-and-death struggle, the sacristan and a group of parish women entered the church, having completed their gardening work. Witnessing Father George running from Laura's location, without fully grasping the situation, they jumped to the conclusion that he had caused harm to Laura. Panic-stricken, the sacristan rang the church bells, alerting the town to an assumed emergency. The resonating sound of the bells prompted the townspeople to rush to the church, encountering the distraught group of women and the sacristan, who conveyed their misinterpreted version of events. The news spread rapidly, triggering concerns among the locals and prompting the involvement of local authorities. Soon, a gathering of townspeople and officials demanded answers at the church. With an air thick with tension and suspicion, Father George, visibly distressed, attempted to explain that he had been endeavoring to save Laura's life. However, the crowd, fueled by fear and anger, was unwilling to listen. A wave of hysteria swept through the crowd, giving rise to baseless accusations against the beloved priest. It seemed as though Father George's reputation, meticulously built through tireless service, would be irreparably tarnished. Unbeknownst to the crowd, Laura's dropped phone had captured the entire incident on video. The recording not only documented Father George's valiant attempts to resuscitate Laura but also captured his frantic search for holy oil to administer the last rites. The live stream, still broadcasting on social media, became a crucial piece of evidence watched by many, including several townspeople who had not yet made it to the church. The unfolding events held the potential to unveil the truth and redesign Father George's reputation. Amidst the chaotic frenzy of the crowd, the irrefutable evidence lay overlooked. The situation continued to escalate until a younger parishioner, who had been closely monitoring the live stream from home, rushed to the church, brandishing his phone as a beacon of truth. Recognizing the potential significance of the footage, the authorities took hold of the phone and carefully reviewed the recording. As the video played, it became clear that Father George had acted heroically in his attempts to revive Laura, administering CPR and urgently calling for assistance. The undeniable truth unfolded. He had been striving to save her life, not inflict harm. A stunned silence enveloped the crowd as the weight of their hasty judgments began to settle. The realization that they had falsely accused Father George of a heinous crime without any substantial evidence hung heavily in the air. With the truth laid bare, the townspeople were gripped with guilt and remorse, compelled to confront the consequences of allowing fear and suspicion to cloud their judgment. Shamefacedly, one by one, the community members approached Father George, offering heartfelt apologies and earnestly seeking his forgiveness. Despite the ordeal he had just endured, The priest exhibited grace and compassion, accepting their apologies with a forgiving spirit. In the days that followed, the community sought to make amends for their misguided actions, rallying around Father George. They extended support and assistance in any way possible. Concurrently, their collective prayers were directed towards Laura, who remained in the hospital, battling for her life. The incident, while leaving a profound scar on the town, also became a catalyst for introspection and growth. The community grappled with the darker facets of human nature and the far-reaching consequences of their actions. In this crucible of self-discovery, they uncovered the transformative power of forgiveness and the importance of placing trust in one another. As time progressed, the community became even more tightly knit, realizing the indispensability of unity and trust in the face of adversity. Armed with the lessons gleaned from the ordeal, they endeavored to apply them to their daily lives, fostering an environment of compassion and understanding. This newfound sense of solidarity transcended the confines of the church, permeating every facet of life in the town. Father George, undeterred by the ordeal, continued his dedicated work in the parish. His commitment to the spiritual well-being of his congregation remained unwavering. He utilized the events surrounding Laura's heart attack as a teaching opportunity, emphasizing the perils of jumping to conclusions and underscoring the transformative power of forgiveness. His sermons resonated with themes of love, understanding, and the imperative need for empathy in an increasingly divisive world. In due course, Laura made a triumphant recovery and returned home to the warm embrace of her community. Grateful for the support and prayers she had received during her hospitalization, she felt a renewed sense of purpose in her service to the church. Laura's experience and the community's empathetic response served as a living testament to the power of faith and the enduring strength of their collective bond. The ordeal that had initially threatened to tear the community asunder ultimately brought them closer together. The townspeople emerged from the experience with a profound appreciation for the importance of trust, understanding, and empathy in their relationships with one another. Their commitment to supporting their fellow parishioners and collaborating to create a brighter future for their town intensified as the years unfolded. The narrative of Laura's heart attack and the subsequent events became an indelible part of the town's collective memory. It served as a potent reminder of the perils of making assumptions and the critical importance of seeking the truth. Through grace, forgiveness, and the wisdom acquired from their collective experiences, the townspeople continued to cultivate a strong, loving community that stood as an exemplary beacon of unity and faith in action. Next, let's enjoy a story that is similar to this one together. Ashley, a woman in her 70s, carefully packed her belongings for a week at her beach house. She anticipated the soothing scent of the sea, the sound of seagulls, and the joy of tending to her beloved garden. 7 years ago, Ashley had purchased the house to cope with the loss of her son, John, a decorated Army hero who tragically passed away. Gardening became her solace, a hobby that some found puzzling but brought her immense comfort. Accompanied by Tom, her loyal kitten, Ashley took a bus to her coastal retreat. As she ascended the familiar steps, excitement filled her for the colorful oasis that awaited her. However, upon entering her once pristine garden, Ashley was devastated. Empty beer bottles, cigarette butts, and plastic littered her refuge. Anger and sadness overwhelmed her. Who could commit such an act of destruction? Despite the chaos, Ashley refrained from jumping to conclusions about her neighbors, who seemed to be hosting a gathering. Instead, she retreated to her kitchen, a room she cherished for its view of the now tarnished garden. Trying to make sense of the situation, she pondered the motive behind this senseless act. The distant sounds of music and revelry from her neighbor's house only intensified her brewing migraine. Closing windows and blinds to shut out the intrusive noise, Ashley decided to focus on cleaning her house. As she tidied up, she couldn't shake the confusion and frustration brought about by the unexpected ruin of her haven. As the day turned into night, Ashley found herself immersed in cleaning her house. Unaware that a full moon now graced the sky, the neighboring party showed no signs of winding down. With laughter and shouting echoing through the closed windows and doors, the volume escalated, and even with everything sealed shut, the bass-heavy music resonated, causing Tom, her frightened kitten, to seek refuge under the bed. Her patience, already tested by the earlier garden incident, reached its limit. Determined to salvage a peaceful night, Ashley, now dressed, left her house and approached her neighbor's gate. Despite vigorous attempts to get their attention, The revelers inside remained oblivious. After 15 minutes of persistent knocking and doorbell ringing, a young woman finally opened the door, holding a glass. "Hi, can I help you?" The woman slurred, suppressing her frustration. Ashley introduced herself and kindly requested a reduction in volume due to her frightened cat. The young woman, seemingly intoxicated and defensive, questioned Ashley's request, asserting her right to enjoy music during their celebration. Recognizing the futility of reasoning with someone in such a state, Ashley retreated, resigned to the likelihood that her neighbors were responsible for the previous garden vandalism. The following day brought a torturous migraine and elevated blood pressure for Ashley. Hoping for a peaceful night's rest, she focused on the fact that the party had ended, and Tom had returned to his usual perch on her lap. However, her optimism waned as the sounds of another party resumed next door. Louder and more disruptive than before, frustration and anxiety intensified as Tom sought refuge under the bed once again. Convinced that the neighbors were deliberately tormenting her, Ashley decided to involve the police. The call, filled with agitation, resulted in a lengthy wait. When the police finally arrived, the neighbors promptly lowered the volume, leading to a dismissive response from the attending officer. In the aftermath, Chloe Sherman, the 25-year-old neighbor and daughter of a well-known businessman, emerged as the instigator. Despite Ashley's persistence, the officer, skeptical of her claims, warned against making false allegations. Disheartened and embarrassed, Ashley felt trapped in a situation she never expected to face at her age. Undeterred, she made another call to the police when the disruptive noise resumed, only to face continued denial from Chloe, who dismissed the complaints as the product of an elderly woman's imagination. The situation had taken a distressing turn for Ashley as the police officer, after issuing a fine and warning her about making false allegations, was revealed to be the chief, Howard Sloan. The following day, Leo, Chloe's boyfriend, confronted Ashley at her doorstep, delivering threats and insults. Feeling powerless and frightened, Ashley refrained from calling the police, fearing repercussions. As the disruptive revelry resumed next door, Ashley cried silently, caressing Tom and enduring the vibrations of the loud music. Unwilling to confront the threats once again, she endured the torment. The following day, physically and emotionally drained, she decided to seek help from the police station. Upon arrival, Ashley sensed skepticism from the officers, who likely viewed her as the town's latest eccentric resident. In a moment of nervousness, her purse spilled its contents, revealing a photograph of her late son John and the Silver Star Medal he had earned for bravery in Iraq. The police chief, Howard Sloan, recognized the familiar face in the photo and the significance of the medal. In his office, Howard shared a surprising revelation with Ashley. He and John had served together in Baghdad during the war, forming a deep bond as comrades in arms. The chief recounted a harrowing incident where John's quick actions had saved his life. The reunion between the elderly woman and the police chief, who had once fought side by side, was marked by disbelief and emotion. Howard explained that their lives had taken different paths after their military service, resulting in a gradual loss of contact. Ashley, overwhelmed by the unexpected connection, was comforted by the realization that the chief understood the pain and loss she had experienced. The revelation brought a sense of understanding and support, offering a glimmer of solace in the midst of her tumultuous ordeal. Nearly a decade had passed since John and Howard had crossed paths, their reunion unexpected and bittersweet. The police chief, saddened by the news of John's fate, felt a sense of obligation to help Ashley, not only out of respect and duty but also as a tribute to his deceased friend. As Ashley recounted the ongoing issues with her troublesome neighbors, Howard, the police chief, formulated a plan to address the situation. Over the next 2 days, Chloe Sherman and her friends continued their disruptive parties, but this time Ashley knew how to navigate the situation. She reached out to Howard directly, who arrived at her house in his private car rather than a patrol car. Howard, armed with a cell phone and a decibel meter, captured evidence of the unbearable noise inside Ashley's house. The footage also revealed the moment when Chloe's boyfriend, Leo, and others tossed garbage into Ashley's yard. Recognizing that such offenses might not warrant severe penalties, Howard sought to capture evidence of a more serious threat. Hiding in his car, Howard observed as Ashley rang Chloe's doorbell to request a reduction in noise. The confrontation escalated, leading to Chloe and Leo assaulting Ashley. Howard intervened, revealing his badge and informing Chloe that she and Leo were being arrested for assaulting their elderly neighbor. Despite Chloe's initial confidence in her father's influence, Howard clarified that he was there to uphold the law, not accept bribes. The arrest of Chloe and Leo unveiled a larger scandal involving Chloe's father, Mr. Sherman, leading to a state lawsuit for bribery and overbilling in construction projects. The family's influence waned as the legal proceedings unfolded. In the aftermath, Chloe and Leo lost a lawsuit filed by Ashley, resulting in a $60,000 compensation to the elderly woman. Additionally, both offenders were mandated to perform social service, specifically collecting garbage. Their next 3 summer vacations would be spent cleaning the streets and parks of the city. With justice served, Ashley found solace. While uncertain if the lessons had been learned, her image was restored, and her garden once again flourished as the most beautiful on the street. Perhaps even in the entire city. Thanks for watching until the end. If you enjoy it, please subscribe and like to make sure you receive the next update.